Today we're going to be wiring up an aftermarket stereo in a Ford Mustang GT 2003. Many of the cars have almost exactly the same principles, so follow along even if you don't have this specific car, and we're going to get this aftermarket stereo installed. So the first thing you want to do, and I highly recommend, is to spend about $10 and get a stereo harness. This is the exact one for this year, make and model of the Ford Mustang. Also works with many other Ford vehicles as well. And it sort of tells you how to wire it, but not very clearly, which is why I've made this video, to make it a lot easier. The first thing I want to say is get somewhere comfortable where you can sit down, a desk, anything like that, and just wire this together. There's no need to take it all to the car and do it there. We can wire it all up in the house, wherever's comfortable, and then take it to the car and plug it in. Simple as that. So what a stereo harness does, it sort of lives with the stereo. Instead of wiring this directly to the car, which we can do, it makes it so that if you want to move this to another car or do something else with the car, put a different stereo in, we have to undo all the wiring and redo it. By getting a harness, we wire the harness to the stereo and those live together. Therefore we can plug the stereo in and out of the car by just using the provided adapters. So it makes it changing, you can change it out later and it'll be a lot easier to do this. So what's a little bit daunting is when you get one of these stereos, it comes with a bag of cables, a bag of other stuff, more cables, then you get your harness and you're just a bit overwhelmed. But we're going to break this down really simply and get this done in no time. Now for joining the harness to the stereo itself, you can see when you buy the harness, the wires are somewhat exposed, so the idea is you pull the end off and you're somewhat ready to go. You just have to join this wire from the harness onto the stereo. Now to do this, I recommend getting some of these wire butt connectors. You can get these pass-through ones which are kind of hollow inside. You join the wires together, just get some pliers and crimp the middle, and then you get a good solid connection. If you don't have those, you can use something like this. There's a smaller version, there's a bigger version. Again, twist the wires and poke them in here. And you can crimp them. Some are really hard to crimp, some people just kind of twist it on. It's really up to you. I recommend these ones. These are pretty good, and it ensures all the wires are the same length and it flows nicely. If you don't have these, that's okay. You can use these and you can get something which kind of looks like this at the end. It's got a bit of masking tape just to hold it in there, but as long as the wires are solid, that's all that matters. Okay, so coming back to the harness, I want to discuss a couple of things. With the Ford Mustang GT 2003, you don't actually need this connector. I believe it's for the power antenna, which the car doesn't have anyway, but in something like a Lincoln, it may have the power antenna, so it's sort of provided as everything else is the same. And the other thing I want to mention about this harness is this secondary harness here. It has all 8 pins inside. 4 of them go to these RCA cables here, a couple ground and a couple for the amp turn-ons. Now the reason these have all 8 pins is that the Ford Mustang GT 2003 specifically has 2 amps. That means if the car has 2 amps, it needs all 8 pins in here. Sometimes you might get a similar harness, for example this one right here, which says it works with Fords and the Mustang, but it will not work with both amps. If you don't have all 8 pins in here, only one of your amps may turn on and you'll get a reduced sound, and that is the reason for this. This should have all 8 pins present, and it should look exactly like this here. So let's break the big harness down a little bit. There's lots of wires coming off. What the hell do these do? Well, let's look at the back of our harness here. We're going to work from the bottom and go upwards. Now the violet and violet black, the violet with the black is just the negative version of the violet one, and it's all for the right rear speaker. Again with the green, left rear, grey, right front, white, left front. So this is 4 sets of speakers, each has a positive and a negative. So that's all those wires do. We've separated those. So that's pretty much half our harness already discussed, and we know exactly where they go and what they do. Colors are somewhat standardized now. Here's the harness from the stereo. You can see on here we have the green ones, the white ones, the purple ones, and they pretty much connect exactly to these as they do here. Again, join the ends like so with our couplers. I do highly recommend using a soldering iron to do these. It ensures a better connection and a better quality. So what I've done with these, I've soldered each joint on here, put a cap over it, a coupler, and then just taped it on just for extra security there. That's what I've done. You don't have to use a soldering iron, just make sure it's really twisted well, but I do recommend it. Let's discuss the red and the yellow wires now. Now these are both 12 volt power wires, but some people get them a little confused, so it can create a few problems with that. Now the red one, this is the accessory switch. It has power only when the ignition is in the on position or the auxiliary position. That's this red one. So how that works is when you turn the key in the car, your stereo will come on with the car, and that's typically how people want it to behave. However, the yellow one has power at all times, so even when the ignition's off, it still runs power to the actual stereo. If you splice the red and the yellow together and connect them both to the B+, like so, then you'll need to turn off the radio separately to the car, otherwise it will run your car battery down. So that's the difference between red and yellow and how you can splice them together to get this behavior. What I did with mine, I did yellow to yellow, red to red, and that'll ensure that when I turn the key on, the stereo comes on, key off, stereo goes off. Now let's talk about the orange wire. The orange wire is the illumination, that's the dash lights. So if you notice when you put your headlights on in the dark, your dash illuminates, and you can sometimes change the dimness of this, especially with the Mustang. You turn the dial on the left and that can alter the dimmingness. That's pretty much what the orange wire is responsible for. Now some cars don't have this, so therefore it might not be needed. It really depends. Others, like in this case, you can change the illumination of your stereo depending on the illumination of the dashboard. So if you have it half dimmed, this can also half dim as you do this. So that's sort of what the orange wire is responsible for. And the orange black one, that's just the ground for that wire. So this can be lumped together with the other ground wires, so we can ground everything off at one point if you would like to. And the last two wires here are the black wires. Now the black wire is just the chassis ground, and this one is the ground for the amp, which is a black and white one. What you can do with the ground wires, like I mentioned, lump them all together, twist them together, whatever you want to do, and ground them off at one point, and that's perfectly fine to keep things tidy. You can see with mine here, I've just lumped them together so we have one common ground right there, and again it keeps things tidier and a lot more simple. Okay, so let's just revise real quick. These are the speakers: green, green, purple, purple, violet, violet. Coming over here, we have our yellow one, which is our B+, that's the power at all times. We got the red one here, which is power with the ignition. We got the illumination, which is the orange one, and the ground one. So that really leaves one more, and that's this blue one, and that's the one I want to discuss, which brings all of this together. Now the blue wire around right here is the power antenna cable. Now the Ford Mustang 2003, it doesn't have a power antenna. We can install one and it'll still get a signal to it, which is from this blue wire right here. Now when we switch our stereo on and tune it in, say we put a radio station on, our power antenna will mechanically sort of rise out of the car, and that's the trigger for it, this blue wire right here. Now what this is going to do, this is actually going to turn our amps on. Like I mentioned, we have 2 amps in this car, and the power antenna wire right here is actually going to turn those on for us. And our little harness associated with our amps is this little one right here. So this power antenna wire right here will connect to these blue ones right here, and these are our amp turn-on wires. These are the grounds for them, so these can be lumped together with all those ground wires we discussed before. And these RCA ones just go back into the back of the stereo here. One thing I'm going to mention really quickly is the pop sound that people hear when they turn on their radio or change channels on a lot of Ford vehicles. Now this is because a lot of Ford vehicles use a 5 volt turn on for the amps, and most aftermarket stereos use 12 volt. So when you replace the stock with an aftermarket, you turn the radio on, you'd hear this kind of pop in the speaker just because of the voltage difference. And what a lot of people do is install something like a Volt 39, which is just a 12 volt to 5 volt step down converter, and you plug this between the blue and white cables on the smaller harness, which is the amp turn on cables. With this car, the Mustang GT 2003, you don't really need that. You don't hear the pop at all, which you'll kind of see at the end of the video as well. So if you follow these instructions precisely, you won't need the Volt 39 on this particular year, make and model of the Mustang. So the new stereo is installed. I'll show you how I got this off real quick. You just get your fingers in here, in this part right here. Just dig, that'll pop right out, and just work it all the way around, and that'll slowly come off. Okay, once that's loose, just bring your shifter down. You can access behind the cigarette port here. Just squeeze that, pull it out. Then you can get access to this trim. Again, just work it off really slowly. It's held on by a couple prongs all the way around. That pops right off. 2 7mm bolts, get access to the stereo. Very easy. So with this piece loose, just pull it forward. It helps if you just put the key in and bring the gear stick down there, and you can get access to the cable harnesses for the traction, the window and the fog lights. Pretty easy, just squeeze the side in, they should just pop right up. So now the old stereos out, it should be pretty obvious where these go. If you've been putting the harness together, there'll be 3 just like this. As I mentioned, one of them we don't use, that'll be this one here. And this is the antenna, that just goes to the antenna on the car. So on the old stereo here, I just had this bracket which held it in. This sort of comes off, it might have screws in the side. You can just pretty much transplant that onto the new one, like so. Just make sure it has a good distance from the bezel there to look nice in the frame. And then a lot of them come with these prill sort of drilled holes, so you can find the bolt which will fit that, or you could just zip tie it in, something like that, just so it's solid, and then we can sort of bolt that back into the car. Alright, so let's do this together. The first demo, connect your battery back up, key on, 1 turn, that's the auxiliary. See, it's got a bit of power here. There we go, that's a good sign, isn't it? It's not the most glamorous song, but we have power, we have sound.
We look forward to hearing from, and many of you know.
So put your ear to each speaker in the car, make sure they're all coming on and you can hear stuff out of all of them, and you're pretty much good to go. So that's it, that's the full install really. Hope you did good with yours. It's quite nice to have auxiliary and USBs and video, everything in a Mustang now, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Thanks for watching. So I'll show you a bonus feature real quick. If you're trying to watch videos and it says something like this, then we just need to ground out our parking brake wire, which usually comes with the stereo. I'll show you that now. So this cable came with the stereo. It's just a little 6-wire harness. This one here says brake detect, and this brown one here on this one should be connected to a little pin out just under here. That's if you want to be safe and do it properly, but why would you? The easiest way is just to ground this brown one out, so just connect it to the huddle of black ones we had, and that will disable that error. Again, it's not all stereos, it's some of them. This one has it, so it's just one of those things. So I'll show you a little bit better. Here's that brown wire, just touch it to the case here. It goes away. Johnny Bravo, check it out. Yeah, lift it off, easy.